I'm your host, Big Shooter, and this is the Late Bloomer Podcast. And today with me is Miss Terrica Partee, trauma coach out of Memphis, Tennessee. Appreciate you coming through today.
Thank you for having me.
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Alright. First off, like I said, thank you for coming through. Just trying to keep it diverse and like switch up. Not really switch up, but keep it diverse. Not get put in a box where people just feel like, well, we only talk about just the streets, because we have so much going on. So many people have different talents, different stories in the city. So I appreciate you coming through. You know, for real.
Thank you.
Starting out, what part of Memphis are you from?
Okay, I am from like Fraser, like North Memphis, according to my family. North Memphis.
Fraser, North Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
And give me like kind of time stamp it. When would you say you was coming up in there around North Memphis?
I was definitely like a little baby in North Memphis, and then my family moved to Fraser. Then we moved to Raleigh. So the Partee family from Evergreen.
Evergreen.
Yeah.
Okay. From a big family?
Yes.
What was it like? What was it like growing up out in North Memphis? I'm from South Memphis, so I don't really know about North Memphis like that.
As far as I can recall, childhood was wonderful. Like, besides my mama having to work a lot to provide for the family, but other than that, I really can't recall any bad things, that's coming up for me right now.
Okay. Single parent, mama and father, how was the household like?
It was a single household. My father had died due to gun violence.
Oh, sorry to hear
He got murdered, so yeah.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, for sure. Let me ask you, at what age in Memphis would you say you started just thinking for yourself? Thinking for yourself.
When I started thinking for myself. I always had a strong mind, but I had made a lot of decisions based off my emotions. So I'm going to say around 22.
22. What you mean decision based off your emotions? What was? Give me an example of that.
I think growing up as a teen, I would like to call it fatherless little girl. But there were a lot of anger and hurt built up inside of me. So I couldn't articulate what I was feeling. So I didn't have the emotional literacy to name the emotion that I was feeling at the time. So I found myself doing things that wasn't normal behavior, maybe lashing out, breaking things, or things of that nature. So a good 22 when I started.
So father's a little girl. Let me ask you, what would you say the impact of growing up without a father? What does that do to a young girl?
Whew. It makes me so emotional just thinking about it right now. I think without having a father, I felt unwanted. I felt like that I needed to belong somewhere. Like a reject, to be honest.
Was it ever a point in time where you had like maybe a strong father figure? Stepfather?
As I'm thinking about it right now, I'm getting emotional. But there was this man that was in my life when I was younger. I just remember he took me fishing and he done things with me that I think I always probably desired to do, but he was just a friend of the family. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Just a friend of the family.
Yeah.
Is it easy for a fatherless little girl to be manipulated?
Yes. Because you don't have that male structure to speak life into you, so you really can't. Of course, at a young age, your frontal lobe don't develop until you're like 25. So I didn't even. I don't think I was able to think logically. Only thing I wanted to do was gain rewards, participate in cheerleading, maybe a dance team. I just wanted to belong somewhere. So when I got a little attention, I felt like it felt like love to me. To be honest, it felt like love, but it was furthest from that.
So at what age would you say you start really seeing I guess it would be the negative side of the world, like of not having a father?
I would say for me, it was definitely because I'm thinking about two different stages when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 16.
16.
Yes.
So 16. I'm just trying to think, cause I got a similar situation, not the same, but I got a daughter, and when I was locked up, she was born. She was a month before I went to prison, and when I got out, she was 6.5. So she's 14 now. You know what I'm saying? So I've been trying to get my relationship. She got a stepfather though, but me and her relationship ain't where I want it to be. But I'm trying though, so I'm just trying to just listen to you and just trying to kind of see her point of view. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just listening though. But you said 16.
Yes.
What would you say? What kind of what way was life handling you then at 16? Was it the boys? Was it men? Was it just didn't know how to deal with conflict resolution? Or like what was it that you was like, this wouldn't be happening if, you know what I'm saying?
At first I was a tomboy. I wanted to do all the things just like my uncle. My uncle used to jump the fence. I wanted to jump the fence. I wanted to ride the bikes and roller skate. I wanted to do all the things that guys were doing because they life at that time to me seemed much more challenging and adventurous. But for me, I just went on to another space. Repeat that. Repeat that to me.
I was saying like at what you said at 16. I'm trying to see like at 16 what started happening that you was like, maybe if my father was around, this wouldn't be happening.
I think I would be able to identify. I would be able to have what I want to say. I'd be able to identify my needs as a young woman. I'd be able to understand that you either, of course, guys, you're going to either be the hunter or get hunted at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking about how if I had a father, I would know how to deal with the not diversity. Lord, that's not what I'm trying to say. The adversity when it comes to when I start having my cycles as a young woman. When I start feeling all these different things in my body and understanding that it's a natural feeling, but actually just being able to make the right decisions for my life, and learn that when I was being manipulated or preyed upon,
Do you think it's a difference between the girls who still be preyed upon and be manipulated that have a father and the ones that don't? Because I feel like it still happens.
Yeah, it can happen.
Prime example, not to cut you off, but prime example, I interviewed this young lady tonight, Quanah James, and she was talking about her relationship with her father, and she was saying she basically went against what her father was telling her, and she ended up coming back around because he was right every time. You know what I'm saying? So you have those incidents too where women just girls just when they meet, a young man, they get caught up in it.
But if you were already spoken life into by your father,
She
and
came back around.
he identified things before you, and just the way his kindness, his values as a man, like his integrity, towards women, and I'll be able to identify and say, hey, you know what, my father was like this, so I can't understand about going against everything, but that's why I can only speak from not even having the option at all.
Gotcha.
Because he was killed due to gun violence.
Gotcha.
Over checking someone. So I can only speak for me, but I can't even say the pain is much lesser or lighter, but
Right.
pain is pain. So, I can't measure it and put it on the scale, but I understand how it did impact me. I was seeing the world through a pure lenses. Like, I feel like since I had a good heart, you had a good heart. I'm a nice person, you're a wonderful person. And I just grew up think that life was all fairy tales. And that was the farthest from the truth.
How much manipulation do you think you went through? Just on all levels, not just from men, but just from all levels, just people in general, though.
Majority of my life, until I started understanding the perception and changing the trajectory of my life on every level. And I had a relationship that really took an impact on me. And, in this relationship, I think that's the first time I felt like that the feeling, the hurt, the betrayal in the relationship had me feeling like the pain, I couldn't carry it. Like, it was too much for me to bear. So just understanding how it made me feel and realizing that I don't want to feel like that anymore.
Was that, let's say, early on when you started experiencing life, or would you say later on in life, like teenage years, 20s, 30s, or what would you say?
Maybe in my early teen, middle adulthood, that I can truly remember and how that relationship impacted me. And I started to figure out, like, something is wrong. Like, this don't feel right, So just understanding the mental impact that it had on me. Like, I experiencing depression for me at that time felt like I was disconnected from the world. I was in a dark box, like I was locked down in a cage. I understand people is around me, but I felt alone, like you couldn't feel me, like I was disconnected from the world. And I was like, this don't feel, these ain't my feelings.
Right.
Like, how could I feel like this? Like, I felt unnormal and very uncomfortable with the emotions that I felt. So I got into a space in my life where I was like, you know what? I'm about to fight for me. Whatever it take, I'm gonna fight for me. It's me against me. So I found a wellness coach, a therapist at the time, and I went every day, because it was something I had to overcome. Another thing, I got well on that area. It was another thing, I got well on this area. And I said, oh wow, that's why I thought like that. That's why I felt like that. Wow. So I'm veering this from an emotional state the whole time. This is logical. No, I can't make no emotional decisions. So just learning how to control my emotions, with a lot of things. And just every time I went to go see my wellness coach, I came back every day. I said, you know what? I'm starting to feel good. Oh, wow. That was a fantasy that I had. I convinced myself that. I knew they weren't a good person, but I still stayed. Well, maybe he'll see how much I love him. But the whole time it was never about nobody else. It was about me, what I needed. Because at the time, I got to think about it. You're not God for me to give you that much power. So yeah.
So, let's say looking at you, like you don't really know what a person going through, but just looking at you, a person was like, she seemed like she got her stuff together. She looked nice. So let me ask you, what does depression look like? Does it have a?
And oftentimes when I see people always talking on the internet, they often coexist depression with a look. It don't have a look. You know, depression doesn't have a look. I don't wear my depression. There was times where I was depressed for nearly almost 2 years. I still kept my hair up. I still kept my nails done. I still had the biggest smile on my face. I might have cried tears and maybe haven't even slept 2 or 3 days prior to that time, but I still showed up and I looked well. Depression doesn't have an aesthetic. It doesn't look like anything. You can be depressed. I can be depressed. You can be fly. I can be looking like a bum, but we can be in different positions, and you can be depressed and not me. So depression doesn't have an aesthetic.
So how does depression and motherhood work?
You took it there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna be real. So depression and motherhood for me.
Cause it can go both ways.
For me, I dealt with postpartum depression. So for me, I felt disconnected from my baby for a while. There was times where I did call the doctors in and I was like, I need you to get this baby. Like, in my mind, I had thoughts that was like, you don't want this baby, get this baby. But I knew I didn't feel like that to my core. But there were emotions that I couldn't explain. I didn't understand what depression does to you. I didn't understand that, once you deal with different parts of depression, it's like a chemical, and the chemicals in your brain change. Like, you don't think like the average person. You know, there'd be times where a person could say, well, why are you depressed? Shoot, I don't know why I'm depressed. It just fell on me. Like, I don't know. But once you face it and find a safe space that can be nurtured, you can overcome depression.
So how do you overcome the fear of being judged?
And, that's different. I think I didn't like the way I felt, and I knew it wasn't normal. And there were times where I talked to God all the time, and it's like this inner voice just kept saying, fight, don't give up, keep going, don't fight. And so for me, not giving up on myself and my children, because I knew deep down inside these emotions wasn't mine. They didn't belong to me. They came from somewhere else. I felt bad. I felt bad mentally and emotionally and spiritually. My spirit was down, and I had to, cultivate life back into me. So, yeah, like.
So, you would say that experience that you experienced when your early stage, that was the life lesson that kind of spearheaded this Coach T, this trauma.
Trauma coach, yeah.
Okay, well, talk about that a little bit. Talk about trauma coach.
Okay, so
how did you start that? First of all, who put that thought in your head?
Okay, so her name is Dr. Kelly Harris. She's a certified trauma specialist. She was the director of Lakeside for 12 years. And I had connected with her throughout my wellness journey. And I got a chance to be affiliated where she used to host groups. And, she built a safe space for me.
People hear Lakeside, what they think now.
Director.
Especially back in the day, when they hear Lakeside.
They think they're crazy. Yeah. But she was a director over there. She
No, I'm talking about you going there.
Who?
You said that's what she worked at, right?
She was the director.
So what you were doing there?
No, I'm just naming all her credentials.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just naming all her credentials. No, I was saying she was the director of Lakeside.
Okay, go ahead.
Hey, that's what people say. Hey, no, but yeah, she was the director of Lakeside. She's a trauma specialist.
Gotcha.
And a licensed therapist all the way around. Like she's, she cultivates. She good at what she do. Okay. She can speak life into you. You'll be thinking something and she just changed your perspective and you like, oh. So yeah, she's over the University of Mental Health. Okay. So she's a mental health. She specializes in mental health as well. So just seeing her work with people and just understanding how she did, help cultivate a space for me. So I was like, you know what? As I kept, and I got a chance to witness other people's journeys in the midst, and I connected with a lot of things that people was going through. So,
And what year was that?
Ooh, this was in 2024. Just say about 6 years ago.
Okay.
7 years ago, and she had ended up retiring. So retiring her clinicians. So I just ended up building a bond with her. Where she was like, hey, I was like, hey, look, I would like to come and be there and support and da-da-da. And just me growing in love with mental health, just understanding that what you're feeling right now is not the permanent feeling. Sometimes you just need a person to speak life into you. Sometimes you just need a person to go into the dark and pull your hand and bring you out of like, come on, this is not the end of the destination, let's go to the light. And just me being a beacon to other individuals, other women, whether it's men, no matter the gender of the person, just being able to get them to a space where it's like, okay, all right. Because guess what? My feelings are not always facts. I might feel a certain way at this moment due to a certain emotions, but give me an hour later, I'm no longer feeling that way. I'm up. I'm down. So just start, because when I did deal with my own mental wellness, I was able to connect with, hold on, you say you might feel like that, but let's tease that out. Let's lean in. What are you really saying? What are you really hearing? Do you really feel like that? And by the time I didn't talk to them, they done forgot why they depressed, why they feeling down the way that they feel. So, and when I seen that I connected with that and connected with different individuals when I talk to them, they feel a little more encouraged. They feel like they can go on a little bit more, whether they experiencing suicide. Because most of the people that think about suicide, you don't want to actually take your life. You just want to get rid of the ache, the pain, the hurt, because it's a feeling that feels unbearable. So if I didn't feel this anymore, but that was just a feeling. But if I had somebody speak life into me or connect with me or to encourage me or maybe even pray for me, I can go on and live another day. Then suicide, you'd be like, man, I'm glad you talked to me about that because I ain't even feeling like that, bro. You everything, and then you become you grow to a space where you're like, thank you for you become embedded. Well, indebted to a person. Sorry about that, but indebted. So I think that means everything to me. So I always advocate for mental wellness, setting your boundaries. Unlearning old behaviors, because there's a lot of ways that you and I have that just not conducive to our mental wellness, but we say that this is just how we is. I ain't changing, man. You're going to either deal with it or not. So, just understanding that my thoughts are not always my own thoughts. So I have to tease that out and, I have to do a lot of inside work on myself just to reconnect with myself and understand what my needs are. So I can say, hey, you know what? This is what I want to do today. I used to go along just to say yes when I really mean no, just to please you. So now I'm in a space where if it's something I don't want to do, I can tell you, hey, that's not what I want to do, and be okay with not having to carry the emotion of what you thought about me,
So going through that and dealing with your mentor, you was able to, what do you call it, recondition your mindset?
I had to rewire my whole nervous system. I had to regulate it. My brain, I had to just
identify.
I had to become so self-aware that I'm like, okay, so when I became self-aware, I'm like, ooh, I can identify, hey, look, Terrica, I don't like the way they make you feel whole. Certain relationships, certain people that you connect with, they make you feel low. Someone make you feel, just being able to identify, I got to be mindful who I connect with, who I talk to. All of that means something.
Question. What's the biggest part about identifying? When you identify, it make you realize you got to cut a lot of people out.
Yeah. For me, identifying to know that this feels uncomfortable for me. Like, this don't feel good. Something is not right. I think when I just started thinking about the life itself just didn't seem the same. I didn't really too much focus on cutting people off because although I do have to align myself with people, once I went on my self-love journey, I started finding people from all walks of life. And I was on another frequency. Like people were able to, it just felt so natural, like they was drawn to me. So I was like, okay, well, she thinking like I'm thinking. It's like me in another space. So I had to, for me, I don't know, something went off in my brain. I just knew it wasn't right. It didn't feel right because I knew how I once felt at one point in time, and all of a sudden these emotions changed. I'm like, these not my emotions. Who emotions are these? Who depressed?
So you was channeling somebody else's energy.
I don't know where it came from, but
How deep is I mean, how much is mental health issue in our community?
I think 90% of it is mental health, because a lot of people, you know, they walking around, they looking well, they feeling well, but they battling, whether they look like smoking, drinking, you know, being intimate, or trying different drugs, trying different things that are unnormal just to connect with something else, so I won't sit in my mess, so I won't feel what I'm feeling because it makes me feel uncomfortable. So I would say 90% is, because not every person know how to deal with a person who's struggling mentally or emotionally. Most of the time they ask you why you feel like this instead of asking me, hey, what happened to you? What are you experiencing? What can I do? Can I sit right here for you? Can I hug you? What can I be of assistance to you to help, you know, you in this space? So just not being able to handle people, because not everybody is crazy. Not everyone, some people just need somebody to talk to that can nurture a space and allow them to feel safe without telling their business to everybody.
Is it different from race to race? Like, let's say, you know, pretty sure you just don't deal with African American Black people. So is mental health, does everybody have the same issues? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you're dealing with an Asian group, like more than one for you to develop a opinion, or white people, more than one for you to develop an opinion. Like, what is the main form of mental? You know, like what people
like identifying.
Yeah.
Relationships. More so of people not having their own identity outside their relationship. You know, but when I think about us as a culture, just we have learned to adapt to so much pain. I don't even think you can put it on a spectrum, just to be honest. You know, not to take away from anyone else's mental health, but we have learned how to adapt. We know how to look like pain. We know how to show up. We know how to perform very well.
Right.
You know, well, we got this saying where we say we are human beings, not human doing. Like, I can show up and say, hey, look, can I get this for you? Can I take your shoes off? What you need me to do? But the whole time, for me, I just want you to see my value. So I don't even want to compare it, to be honest. I don't.
It's different.
It's different because
I got you.
Cause I'm living it. Like I come from it, and for us, it came from our ancestors. Like this was here before we even got on this, you know, on this ground. So when I think about us, we different.
So do you get thrill and more what is it, justification from connecting more so with your people and identifying
I understand
with
exactly
them?
what you kind of asking me. Like, so I get, well, I wouldn't say a thrill. I am greatly encouraged.
Okay.
Just to be able to connect with individuals and they understand me and I understand them, because a lot of times when I talk to them, they feel heard. They seem feel by me, you know, they feel seen by me, and just giving them a safe space. Once I leave this space, I feel I've done my part. Like my purpose. I paid my debt for it today. Like, when I think about me, I have a purpose here. It's just not all about me. You know, no matter what people may see, I can help somebody. I can speak life into a person. I can encourage them out of a dark space. You just got to be willing to come on.
Right.
Come walk with me. I'm gonna be the beacon. I'm gonna carry the light, but you got to fight too.
Right.
Because a lot of times, some people don't want help. They just want to vent about it. And you got to be proactive. You got to embody this wellness. Like, I don't always have perfect days. So when I have a day where I'm not feeling my best, they're like, well, what's wrong with you? Hey, I'm well enough to say, I'm not feeling my best today. Can you give me some space? You know? So even with people, you know, although I specialize in self-love and intimacy and my specialty is trauma, but people forget that, hey, I have my days too. But the difference is, you know, I put in some work, a lot of work, to get where I'm at. So I know that mentally, you don't have to stay stuck. It's just if you want to fight, I help you. I'm going to lead the way. I got the blueprint, but you're going to put in some work too. Let's be well together.
So let me ask you this. In saying that you have your days, right? It's kind of like a 2-part question then.
Okay.
How do people that knew you when you was broken, that broken state of mind, how do they view you now? And do you think the people that knew you back then and see that you on this journey now, do you think they take it serious?
You know, that's a wonderful question that you asked me. And see, the difference about me, that a lot of those people are not in my life